Namaskar, good evening. It's 9 p.m. and you're watching the news with me, Bhawna Nayar. Over the next half hour, we'll give you all the updates from national and international arena. Inauguration of India's 5G test bed to all the updates from Supreme Court's direction on Gyan-Vapi survey. There'll be much more from the business and the field of sports. First up, the headlines. 5G will contribute $450 billion to the economy, asserts Prime Minister Modi at the Silver Jubilee celebrations of TRAI. Expresses confidence that 6G service will be launched by the end of the decade. Home Minister reviews security situation in Jammu and Kashmir, takes stocks of preparations for Amarnath Yatra at the high-level meeting. Supreme Court directs Varanasi authorities to secure Shivling area in Gyan-Vapi complex, says namaz will also continue. Commissioner Mishra removed on the charges of negligence. Results of first phase of Suposhit Ma Abhiyan to provide nutritional support to pregnant mothers and girls encouraging, says Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. At the start of the second phase, appeals to MPs to start campaign in their parliamentary constituencies. Flood creates havoc in Assam. More than 2 lakh people affected in 20 districts, 7 people killed. Orange alert issued for torrential rains in the 4 districts of North Kerala. Let us now look at some other more important stories of the day. Wholesale price-based inflation shoots up to the record high of 15.08% in April. Heat wave leads to spike in prices of perishables. India allows export of wheat shipments registered with Customs Authority before the ban order. Benchmark indices Sensex and Nifty gain over 2.5% to log best single-day gains in 3 months. Amid global rally in stocks, 30-share BSE benchmark zooms over 1,344.63 points. Supreme Court Collegium recommends elevation of 5 judges as Chief Justices. Supreme Court also grants extension for demolition of Supertech Twin Towers till August 28. President Ramnath Kovind meets with Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness, discusses enhancing bilateral cooperation. India rejects Pakistan National Assembly's resolution on delimitation exercise in Jammu and Kashmir. Sweden signs request. Finland's parliament overwhelmingly endorses bid for its government to join NATO. US Presidential Advisory Commission approves proposal to settle within 6 months all applications for green card or permanent residency. And 75th Cannes Film Festival 2022 starts in France, India, country of honor, at event attended by film personalities and Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur. And now news in detail. 5G will contribute $450 billion to country's economy in the next 15 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said it will accelerate progress and create employment opportunities. The Prime Minister was addressing the Silver Jubilee celebrations of TRAI through video conference. He said connectivity will determine progress in the 21st century. The Prime Minister also released a postage stamp on the occasion and launched a 5G testbed developed as a multi-institution collaborative project by 8 institutes led by IIT Madras.
5G तेजी से रोल आउट हो, इसके लिए सरकार और इंडस्ट्री दोनों को कलेक्टिव एफर्ट्स की जरूरत है। इस दशक के अंत तक हम 6G सर्विस भी लॉन्च कर पाए, इसके लिए भी हमारी टास्क फोर्स काम करना शुरू कर चुकी है।
Moving on, the Supreme Court directed the District Magistrate of Varanasi to secure the area inside the Gyan-Vapi Srinagar Gauri complex, where a shivling is reported to have been found. The bench was hearing the plea of the management committee looking after the functioning of Gyan-Vapi Mosque in Varanasi. It said Muslims can continue to offer prayers without any hindrance. However, the top court refused to stay further proceedings before the civil judge. Varanasi, who is hearing the case related to the Gyan-Vapi Masjid. The court fixed May 19th for hearing. Meanwhile, a local court removed Ajay Mishra, the Advocate Commissioner for Videography Survey at Gyanvapi campus in Varanasi on charges of negligence over an alleged news leak to the media. The government has relaxed some rules in its wheat export ban order. It said consignments given to Customs Department for clearance before May 13th will be allowed to be exported. The government also allowed a consignment of wheat to proceed to Egypt at Kandla port. Meanwhile, the United States has expressed hope that India will reconsider its decision to ban wheat exports. The US said Washington will encourage countries not to restrict exports as it would aggravate food shortages amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine. India is the world's second largest producer of wheat. It banned wheat exports to keep domestic prices under check amid concerns that the heat wave will affect wheat production. Moving on, Union Home Minister Amit reviewed the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. He also took stock of the preparations of the Amarnath Yatra that will start after 2 years from June 30th. The Amarnath Yatra has become a significant security challenge after the recent incidents of violence. The centre is deploying 12,000 paramilitary personnel besides thousands of Jammu and Kashmir police personnel for its smooth conduct. The annual visit to the Amarnath temple could not take place in 2020 and 2021 due to COVID-19. In 2019, it was shortened due just before the abrogation of Article 370. This year, the Yatra is expected to see around 3 lakh pilgrims till August 11th. Tuesday's high-level meeting was attended by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla, as well as heads of intelligence and security agencies. Hybrid conflicts and the increasing use of drones and cyber warfare have led to the significant shift in the battlefield. Addressing officers and employees of Defence Services Staff College, Wellington, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu underscored the security challenges in a highly complex and unpredictable geopolitical environment. He said that our armed forces should be fully prepared to meet any challenge and to counter any security threat firmly.
Our valiant soldiers have scripted several chapters of glory in the annals of our history with their sacrifices, be it fighting external aggression or insurgencies or aiding civil administration during the times of natural calamities. The men and women in uniform always done the nation proud.
And now some other news from across the nation. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh commissioned frontline naval warships Surat and Udaygiri at Mazagon dock in Mumbai. This is the first time that 2 indigenously built warships have been commissioned. MDL is the public sector defence company manufacturing major ships and submarines. The CBI filed a fresh case against former Finance Minister P Chidambaram's son and Lok Sabha MP Kriti Chidambaram on the charges of accepting a bribe of Rs 50 lakh for getting visas to 250 Chinese nationals. The CBI raided 9 locations of Kriti Chidambaram in Chennai and other cities in India. The Gujarat ATS arrested 4 accused from Ahmedabad in the 1993 Mumbai serial blast case. The 4 accused, Abu Bakr, Yusuf Bhatka, Shoaib Baba and Syed Qureshi, were trying to flee abroad. ATS is investigating their arrival in Ahmedabad and people who came in contact with them there. Shares of LIC listed on the NSE fell 8.11%. Shares on the NSE were listed at Rs 872 per share against a price of Rs 949. On the BSE, LIC shares were listed at Rs 867.20, down 8.62%. Less than 2,000 daily cases were registered in the country after 28 days. Number of patients under treatment has come down to 16,400. The Health Department said 1,569 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in a day. At the same time, 2,467 patients became healthy. With this, there was a decrease of 917 in the number of patients under treatment in one day. 70 different species of birds were counted during the Himalayan bird count in Arunachal Pradesh. This was the first edition of the Himalayan bird count from western Ladakh to eastern Arunachal Pradesh. Its objective is to study the diverse species of birds and draw attention to the threatened habitats of the Himalayas. President Ramnath Kovind met Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The two leaders held talks on enhancing cooperation in mutual trade, investment, services, sports, and regional and multilateral fora. After the meeting, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Sushma Swaraj Foreign Service Institute and Jamaican Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in the field of diplomatic training. On the sidelines of the meeting in Jamaica, the President attended a reception for the Indian community.
India is on a transformational path. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our self-reliant India is a major initiative taken by the Indian government. India's quest for self-reliance does not mean isolation. Rather, it seeks to create capabilities that can help the entire humanity in the true spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family.
On the sidelines of his visit to Jamaica, President Ramnath Kovind inaugurated the Dr. Ambedkar Avenue and the India-Jamaica Friendship Garden in Kingston. He also planted sandalwood plant at Hope Botanical Garden in the presence of Lady Allen, First Lady of Jamaica. Nearly 2 lakh people in 20 districts have been affected by the floods in Assam. Rail and road connectivity has been snapped due to landslides. Hojoi and Kachchar areas are the most severely affected by the floods. About 78,000 people have been displaced in Hojoi and more than 51,000 people in Kachchar. 5 people have been died due to floods and landslides. 2,800 passengers have been evacuated from 2 trains stuck for 2 days in Lumding Badarpur Hill section of Assam. 18 trains are cancelled due to floods. There is also a heavy rain alert in 4 states of South India. The Meteorological Department has warned of heavy rain in Kerala and has issued an orange alert in 4 districts including Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur and Kasaragod districts. Yellow alerts has been issued in all other districts. Fishermen have been asked not to venture into the sea. Apart from this, flood alert has also been issued in many areas. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla launched the second phase of Suposhit Ma Abhiyan in the Kota parliamentary constituency. Addressing the program in Kota's UIT auditorium, he said 2020, 1,000 women were identified in Kota Bundi for the campaign. 2 years later, the results are more than encouraging. He said the mother takes care of her loved ones before herself, and it should be our responsibility to keep every pregnant woman healthy and well-nourished.
पौष्टिक पोषण के साथ उसमें जो भी न्यूट्रिशन की कमी है उसकी सप्लीमेंट्री भी देंगे ताकि वो मां स्वस्थ रहे। और आज मैं विश्वास के साथ कह सकता हूं, हमारा लक्ष्य है कि कोटा बूंदी संसदीय क्षेत्र में ये अभियान की शुरुआत हुई है। देश के हर माननीय सांसद सदस्य, देश के हर विधायक, जनप्रतिनिधि, सामाजिक राजनीतिक नेता इसकी शुरुआत करेंगे और अपने अपने क्षेत्र के अंदर किस तरीके से हम मां को सुपोषित कर सकें, मां को स्वस्थ रख सकें, ताकि आने वाली पीढ़ी भी स्वस्थ रहे।
Slipping into a short break here. On the other side, no confidence motion tabled by the opposition against Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa defeated in Parliament. All this after this short break. You stay tuned to Sansad TV.
गाड़ी लगाने के लिए जगह नहीं है. That's a very simple thing to say. But building an entire business on it must have been a task.
We are building super app for car owners. So everything around your car happens on a single platform. Starting with parking, access control, challan, insurance, denting, painting, servicing, buying, selling. We are building everything. We put a RFID tag on the car. The system reads the tag. Why do you require a manual assistance there?
Let's hear the story of startup Park Plus and its founder, Amit Lakhotia.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news. Let us now get you all the latest developments from the Russia-Ukraine war. Hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers were evacuated from the besieged Azovstal steel works, the last holdout of troops defending the port city of Mariupol. The plant had become a symbol of resistance, with around 600 soldiers holed up in the underground tunnels and bunkers fighting a rear-guard battle to prevent Russian troops taking full control of the strategically located city. Ukrainian President Zelensky said the fighters who defended Mariupol changed the course of the war by holding out for 82 days. He said that the talks on evacuating more people from the city's Azovstal steelworks, the last bastion of defense after weeks of Russian siege and bombardment, were difficult, but that was the hope they would be successful. Meanwhile, the Kremlin said Ukrainian fighters who surrendered at the Azovstal steel plant will be treated humanely and in accordance with the international standards. A Russian lawmaker taking part in peace talks with Kiev had said earlier on Tuesday that Russia should consider the death penalty for what he called nationalist fighters from Ukraine's Azov regiment who had been hauled up at the steelworks. Russia is expelling 2 diplomats from the Finnish embassy in Moscow in retaliation against Helsinki's decision to expel 2 of its own envoys. In a statement, the ministry also said it protested against what it said was Finland's confrontational course towards Russia's, apparently referring to the country's bid to join NATO. Finland's president said his country and Sweden will be able to reach an agreement with Turkey over its objections to the 2 Nordic countries' plan to join the 30-nation NATO alliance. In an address to Parliament, he said statements from Turkey have been quickly changed and become harder during the last few days. But he expressed hope that the situation will be resolved. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has called for Washington's allies to step up financial support for Ukraine, saying that funds announced so far will not be sufficient for the country to meet its basic needs as it battles Russia's offensive. Ukraine's financing needs are significant, Yellen said in remarks prepared for delivery to the Brussels Economic Forum. Russian officials say that Moscow and Kiev are not holding talks over ending the war in any form. They said that Ukraine has practically withdrawn from the negotiation process. Previous rounds of discussions in person and online have failed to produce any deal on halting the conflict. And some more global updates in this quick wrap. Sri Lanka's parliament reconvened on Tuesday, a day after its new prime minister told the country that it has run out of petrol and is unable to find dollars to finance essential imports.
A no-confidence motion tabled by the opposition against Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was defeated in Parliament on Tuesday. The motion was filed by an opposition Tamil National Alliance MP. It was defeated with 119 MPs voting against it. Only 68 MPs voted in favour. Earlier, the Parliament elected ruling party lawmaker Ajit Rajapaksa as its deputy speaker for a secret ballot. Ajit from the ruling SLPP party secured 109 votes, while the main opposition SJB nominee received 78 votes. 23 votes were rejected. Several lawmakers spoke against the vote, claiming it was a waste of Parliament's valuable time. The developments in Parliament come a day after new Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe told Sri Lankans on Monday that they had to face unpleasant and terrifying facts. He said the country had petrol stocks for a single day, while warning that the next couple of months would be the most difficult ones of their lives. The Prime Minister said foreign reserves had come close to zero from $7.5 billion in November 2019. Sri Lanka needs $75 million in the next few days to keep the economy running. Wickremesinghe said he planned to ask for foreign assistance, privatize Sri Lankan airlines and seek parliamentary approval to print more currency from the present 3 trillion rupees to 4 trillion rupees. More than a month of predominantly peaceful protests against the government's handling of the economy turned deadly last week when supporters of former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa stormed an anti-government protest sites in the commercial capital, Colombo. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Moving to our next story now, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said that his deal to buy Twitter can't move forward unless the company shows public proof that less than 5% of the accounts on the social media platform are fake or spam. Musk made the comment in a reply to another user on Twitter early Tuesday. Twitter declined to comment. The battle over spam accounts kicked off last week when Musk tweeted that the Twitter deal was on hold pending confirmation of the company's estimates that they make up less than 5% of the total users. Moving on, centrist politician Elizabeth Borne was appointed France's new Prime Minister on Monday, becoming only the second woman in history to hold the post. Borne was the Labour Minister in French President Emmanuel Macron's previous government. She succeeds Jean Castex, whose resignation on Monday was expected after Macron's re-election last month to a second five-year term. Macron and Borne are expected to appoint a new French government in the coming days. Iran's foreign ministry said a visit by an EU convoy last week had created a right pathway that could lead to resumption of talks with world powers over the country's nuclear program. A foreign ministry spokesman said talks between Enrique Mora, the EU coordinator of the nuclear talks, and Iranian officials in Tehran has led to some progress. He said that the initiatives proposed are completely feasible, and it seems that the European Union has the same idea. An attempt by one of Libya's rival prime ministers to seat his government in the capital of Tripoli triggered clashes on Tuesday between competing militias, forcing the newly appointed premier to leave the city. Prime Minister Fathi Bashagha's office said that he had arrived in Tripoli with a number of cabinet ministers early Tuesday, 3 months after his appointment to lead an interim government. Residents reported hearing heavy gunfire in different parts of the city and a column of black smoke visible. Hundreds of Indonesian farmers on Tuesday staged a protest in Jakarta and other parts of the country, demanding the government end a palm oil export ban that has slashed their income. Arching alongside a truck filled with palm oil fruit, farmers held a rally outside the offices of the coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs. Indonesia, the world's top palm oil exporter, has since April 28 halted shipments of crude palm oil in a bid to control soaring prices of domestic cooking oil. A fierce sandstorm left Iraqi capital Baghdad caked with dust on Monday, prompting the Iraqi Ministry of Health to announce a state of emergency. Government institutions, schools, shops were closed due to the dust storm. Poor visibility forced authorities to suspend all outbound and inbound flights. Dozens of people packed emergency rooms in hospitals to be treated for breathing and asthma problems. With fuel prices still high, businesses and households across Australia are trying to find ways to cut costs. In Cloncurry in northwest Queensland, turning cooking oil into biodiesel is a part of the solution. Take a look at this unique innovation.
Living in remote, outback communities in Australia can be expensive, and rising fuel prices are forcing businesses to get creative with how they cut costs to survive. The fuel going into this forklift is a blend of diesel and oil from a deep fryer. Recycling oil from the kitchen is proving to be the solution to cut fuel costs in Cloncurry in Queensland. It took 6 months of trial and error to hit upon the viable way to produce the biofuel. Essentially, it involves filtering out all of the solids out of the oil and then dewatering it. The initial setup cost a few $1,000s, but there have been big savings already. Australia uses 32 billion litres of diesel a year. The biofuel industry is calling on state and federal governments to invest more in alternatives. While electric vehicles and hydrogen as fuel do offer hope for the future, biofuel is being seen as a short-term and immediate option to make the transition smoother. The word is spreading fast, and many are signing up for the Cloncurry recycling scheme. Turning last night's pub meal into tomorrow's fuel seems to be the viable solution for now. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And now all the action from the world of sports. Beginning with cricket, Mitchell Marsh 63 with a bat and 8 wickets between the trio of Shardul Thakur, Akshar Patel and Kuldeep Yadav, with Shardul taking 4 of them helped Delhi Capitals beat Punjab Kings by 17 runs in the IPL match played in Navi Mumbai on Monday. Marsh helped Delhi score 159 for 7. Punjab could reach 142 for 9 in the chase. This win has given a fillip to Delhi's chances of making it to the playoffs. Moving to badminton now. Indian badminton team's historic Thomas Cup victory will make it a badminton superpower, feels legendary Prakash Padukone. India's first All-England winner in 1980, Padukone also feels the country has well and truly arrived on world stage of badminton with an achievement which is way bigger than any individual accomplishment. India on Sunday dethroned defending champions and 14-time winners Indonesia with a commanding 3-0 win in the summit clash of the Thomas Cup final to script a historic win. In tennis now, Dominic Thiem is yet to win a match since his comeback in the March. The Austrian suffered yet another first-round loss, the time to Marco Cecchinato at the Geneva Open. The 2020 US Open champion lost 6-3, 6-4. Thiem has now bowed out of the opening round of every tournament he has competed in since returning to tour in March. The Austrian has managed to win just one set in his 6 losses. Meanwhile, Andy Murray and Gael Monfils have both pulled up the upcoming French Open. Former world number 1 Andy Murray had initially decided to skip the entire clay session but returned to the action at the Madrid Open. He made it to the 3rd round where he was supposed to square off against old rival Novak Djokovic. But the highly anticipated matchup didn't happen as the Brit withdrew due to an illness. In football now, Newcastle United dealt a huge blow to Arsenal's chances of qualifying for the Champions League by beating them 2-0 in the English Premier League on Monday. An own goal with Ben White and then a late strike from Bruno Guimaraes sealed the win for Newcastle and left Arsenal 2 points off Tottenham Hotspur in 4th in the standings with 1 game of the season remaining. Before we wrap, a relook at the headlines. 5G will contribute $450 billion to the economy, asserts Prime Minister Modi at the Silver Jubilee celebrations of TRAI. Expresses confidence that 6G service will be launched by the end of this decade. Home Minister reviews security situation in Jammu and Kashmir, takes stock of preparations for Amarnath Yatra at high-level meeting. Supreme Court directs Varanasi authorities to secure Shivling area in Gyanvapi complex, says namaz will also continue. Commissioner Ajay Mishra removed on the charges of negligence. Results of first phase of Suposhit Ma Abhiyan to provide nutritional support to pregnant mothers and girls encouraging, says Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla at the start of the second phase. Appeals to MPs to start campaign in their parliamentary constituencies. Flood creates havoc in Assam. More than 2 lakh people affected in 20 districts, 7 people killed. Orange alert issued for torrential rains in 4 districts of North Kerala. That's all we have in this bulletin tonight. To keep yourself updated, keep watching Sansad TV. Good night. Namaskar.